billionaire's daughter just told a judge to shut up in open court, and what happened in the next 60 seconds made her father, a man worth $12 billion, completely powerless for the first time in his life. She said 3 words that ended her freedom. Just shut up. And the judge said 3 words back that ended her life as she knew it. 90 days jail. This is the moment, right here. 24-year-old Alyssa Vanden, daughter of billionaire CEO Richard Vanden, pointing her finger at Judge Mills Lane in open court. Watch her face. Watch what happens when those words leave her mouth. The entire courtroom freezes. Even her own lawyer drops his pen. But how did we get here? How does someone this wealthy, this protected, end up in handcuffs being dragged out of a courtroom while screaming that rules don't apply to her? That's what I'm about to show you. And trust me, every single detail makes the ending even more satisfying. If you get satisfaction from watching entitled people face real consequences, subscribe now. That's what this channel is. New story every week. Okay, let's get into this. March 7th. Downtown penthouse. Alyssa Vanden is hosting a private party. Champagne, Instagram influencers, everything money can buy. But Alyssa is furious. Someone leaked photos of her online. She's drunk. She's screaming at staff, throwing glasses. And then she makes a decision that will change everything. She storms down to her father's private garage, sees his limited edition Rolls Royce, the one worth more than most people make in a decade. She takes the keys, and she tears out into the rain at 130 miles per hour, downtown intersection. Red light. Sarah Chen is crossing the street with her 10-year-old son Marcus. They're holding hands. Marcus is talking about his soccer game. They're halfway across the crosswalk when they hear it. An engine. Screaming. The Rolls Royce blows through the red light. Sarah tries to pull Marcus back. Too late. Alyssa clips them. Marcus goes down hard. His ankle twists. Fractures in 2 places. Sarah falls trying to shield him. Now watch what happens next, because this is where it goes from accident to unforgivable. Alyssa stops the car, gets out, and instead of asking if they're okay, instead of calling for help, she starts screaming at them. Move! Are you kidding me? You don't belong on the same street as my car. Let that sink in. A mother is on the ground. Her 10-year-old son is crying in pain, and Alyssa Vanden is angry at them for being in her way. 3 people are filming. Traffic camera is rolling. Everything is captured. Alyssa gets back in the car. No ambulance called. No police. No apology. She just drives away. But here's what she doesn't know. One of those witnesses already hit upload. 3 hours later, 3 a.m., Richard Vanden's corporate security team gets the emergency call. These are professional fixers. They've made Alyssa's problems disappear before. They have a system. Step 1, find the victim. They track Sarah to the emergency room. Marcus is getting x-rays. They offer Sarah $200,000 cash to stay quiet, sign an NDA, walk away. Sarah looks at these men in expensive suits, looks at her son with a broken ankle, and says 4 words that change everything. Get out. Call my lawyer. Strike 1. Step 2. Confiscate witness phones. They locate the shop owner who filmed through his window. Offer him $50,000. He takes the money, hands over his phone. But 30 minutes earlier, he already backed everything up and sent it to his nephew. Strike 2. Step 3. The traffic camera footage. They have connections at City Hall, people who owe them favors. They access the system, locate the file, move to delete it. Error message. File already downloaded by police department. Strike 3. And that rideshare driver who uploaded the video, it's already too late. 2:47 a.m. Video hits Twitter. By 3:30, 50,000 views. By 6 a.m., 2 million. By noon, every major news network in the country is running the story. The footage is brutal. Crystal clear. You see everything. The speed. The impact. Marcus hitting the pavement, Sarah screaming, and then Alyssa standing over them yelling. The comments explode. People start digging. They find her past. 3 previous incidents, all mysteriously dismissed. DUI charges that disappeared. Assault charges that settled quietly. A pattern of consequences that never came. Within 48 hours, protesters are outside Richard Vanden's corporate headquarters, outside their penthouse, outside City Hall. They're chanting, demanding real prosecution, no more settlements, no more rich kids walking free. The district attorney has no choice. She calls a press conference, announces charges, reckless endangerment, hit and run, leaving the scene. And then she says the 6 words that should have terrified the entire Vanden family. Judge Mills Lane will hear this case. Let me tell you about Judge Rodney Mills Lane. 37 years on the bench, and in elite legal circles he has a nickname, the Equalizer. Because in his courtroom, your last name means nothing. Your bank account means nothing. Only your actions matter. His track record is legendary. Senator's son, DUI, maximum sentence, police chief's nephew, assault guilty, tech billionaire's grandson, embezzlement, every motion denied, every attempt at special treatment shut down immediately. Lawyers who've appeared before him all say the same thing. Judge Mills Lane is immune to pressure. He treats everyone exactly the same. And if you walk into his courtroom expecting your money or connections to save you, you will learn a very expensive lesson. So when Richard Vanden heard that Mills Lane was assigned, he panicked, called the most expensive legal team in the state, paid them millions up front, told them to make this go away. They tried everything. Motion to dismiss. Insufficient evidence. Judge Mills Lane. Denied. We have 3 video angles and 12 witnesses. Motion to change venue. Prejudicial media coverage. Judge Mills Lane. Denied. The defendant created the media coverage herself. Motion to suppress video evidence. Privacy concerns. Judge Mills Lane. Denied. Public street. No expectation of privacy. Motion for psychological evaluation. Diminished capacity. Judge Mills Lane. Denied. She posted on Instagram 2 hours after the incident. Finally, the nuclear option. Motion to recuse the judge himself. Bias against wealthy defendants. Judge Mills Lane's response was one sentence. I have no bias against wealth. I have bias against criminals. Denied. Richard Vanden's lead attorney delivers the bad news. I can't get this dismissed. Your daughter is going to trial, and she needs to take this seriously. Richard nods, says he'll talk to her. He doesn't. Because Alyssa is convinced this will all blow over. That daddy's money always fixes everything. She posts on social media, goes to parties, acts like nothing happened. She has no idea what's coming. May 7th, 9 a.m., trial begins. Sarah Chen and Marcus arrive early. He's on crutches. They sit quietly in the front row. The gallery fills with reporters, cameras everywhere. This is the most watched trial of the year. 9 a.m., prosecutor ready, defense ready. Judge takes the bench. But Alyssa? Not there. 9:15, still missing. Judge Mills Lane checks his watch. Not happy. 9:30. Still nothing. Bailiff checks the hallway. Empty. 9:40. 50 minutes late. The courtroom doors burst open, and Alyssa Vanden makes her entrance. White designer dress, $10,000 easy. Oversized sunglasses. Inside the courtroom, chewing gum. Visible to everyone. She's not walking like someone facing criminal charges. She's walking like she's at a photo shoot. She slides into her seat. Doesn't acknowledge the judge. Doesn't look at Sarah or Marcus. Just whispers something to her assistant. They both laugh. Judge Mills Lane watches all of this. His expression doesn't change. But everyone who knows him recognizes what's happening. He's already decided something about Alyssa Vanden. Miss Vanden, remove your sunglasses. Dispose of your gum. Sit up straight. We are now in session. Alyssa rolls her eyes. Takes off the sunglasses slowly. Spits the gum into a tissue. Her body language screams one thing. This is beneath me. The prosecution starts methodically. First witness, the rideshare driver. He describes seeing the Rolls Royce, the speed, the collision. Alyssa getting out and screaming at the victims. Defense tries to discredit him. Questions his eyesight. His angle. Whether he was really paying attention. Then the prosecutor plays his video. 4 minutes. Crystal clear. No room for doubt. Technical analysis. Speed. 132 miles per hour. Red light duration. 6 full seconds to stop. Impact force. Enough to throw a 10-year-old child 3 feet. Then the audio. Enhanced. Cleaned up. Alyssa's voice. Perfectly clear. Move! You don't belong on the same street as my car. The jury's faces change. You can see it. This isn't an accident. This is cruelty. Medical expert testifies. Marcus's injuries. Fractured ankle. 2 places. Severe bruising. Mild concussion. 8 to 12 months recovery. For a kid being scouted for a youth soccer academy, that's devastating. That opportunity, gone forever. And through all of this, Alyssa sits there, bored, checking her nails, whispering to her assistant. At one point during the medical testimony about a 10-year-old's shattered dreams, she yawns, loudly, long, doesn't even cover her mouth. Judge Mills Lane makes a note. The court reporter said later she'd never seen him write something so hard the pen almost went through the paper. Sarah Chen takes the stand. Single mother, 2 jobs. Raising Marcus alone. The prosecutor asked her to describe that night. We were crossing the street. Marcus was telling me about scoring a goal in his game. He was so happy. And then I heard the engine. So loud. I tried to pull him back, but... Her voice breaks. She stops. Takes a breath. When I looked up, she was standing there. Not asking if we were okay. Not apologizing. Just angry. Screaming at us. My son was crying. His ankle was bent wrong. And she was angry at us. Sarah starts crying. Real tears. The prosecutor hands her a tissue, gives her a moment. The courtroom is silent. And then Alyssa decides she's heard enough, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Oh my God, lady, accidents happen. Get over it." The entire room goes silent. Sarah stops mid-sentence, stares at Alyssa, in pure disbelief. The jury's mouths fall open. Even the defense lawyers look horrified. Judge Mills Lane's voice cuts through the silence. Cold, precise. "Miss Vanden, you will not speak unless addressed. Is that absolutely clear?" Alyssa rolls her eyes, waves her hand dismissively. Under her breath, but the microphone catches it. "Whatever." Her lead attorney puts his head in his hands. He knows. Everyone knows. Alyssa just made a catastrophic mistake. Everyone except Alyssa. Sarah finishes her testimony. Composed now. Angry. She looks directly at Alyssa. "My son asks me every day why that woman hurt him and didn't say sorry. He's 10 years old, and I don't have an answer for him." Defense cross-examination tries everything. Was Sarah distracted? Was Marcus running? Did they look both ways? Sarah shuts it down. "We were in a crosswalk, at a green light, doing everything right." The defense calls their expert, accident reconstruction specialist, tries to argue limited visibility in the rain. The prosecutor destroys him on cross. So despite limited visibility, Ms. Vanden still chose to drive at 132 miles per hour? Well, technically yes. That sounds like recklessness, not an accident. No further questions. Through all of this, Alyssa is getting agitated. Texting. Lawyers keep taking her phone. She huffs, sighs loudly, makes faces. At one point during the prosecutor's closing argument, she says to her assistant, loud enough for the microphones, "Can we speed this up? I have a photo shoot at 4. Judge Mills Lane stops everything. "Ms. Vanden, this is your final warning. One more outburst and you will be held in contempt of court. Am I making myself perfectly clear?" Alyssa sighs dramatically, sarcasm dripping. "Yes, Your Honor." Her attorney leans over, whispers urgently, probably begging her to shut up. To show some respect, to understand how much danger she's in, she doesn't listen. Closing arguments finish. The defense is weak, asking for mercy based on Alyssa's age, her bright future, her lack of prior convictions. It's all they have. And then Judge Mills Lane does something unusual. He addresses Alyssa directly. The entire courtroom leans forward. This doesn't happen often. "Ms. Vanden, I've been on this bench for 37 years. I've seen thousands of defendants. And before I make my ruling, I need to ask you something directly." Complete silence. Every eye on Alyssa. "Do you understand the severity of what you did? Do you feel any remorse for the pain you caused this family?" This is her moment, her last chance. All she has to do is say yes, show some humility, some humanity, some understanding that she hurt people. Hold on. Before we get to the best part, I need to tell you something. This moment you're about to see, it went viral for a reason, because it's rare, because the system usually doesn't work like this. But when it does, it's beautiful. And I find these moments every week. Different cases, same satisfying justice. So if you're not subscribed, do it now, because you're going to want the next story the moment it drops. Alyssa looks at the judge, looks at Sarah, looks at Marcus on his crutches, and then she does something that shocks everyone in the room. She laughs. Not a nervous laugh, a dismissive laugh, an "are you serious?" laugh. Honestly, it was an accident. Accidents happen every day. I don't know why everyone is being so dramatic about this. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Judge Mills Lane raises his hand. Instant silence. "So to be clear, you feel no remorse for injuring a child? I mean, I'm sorry the kid got hurt, obviously, but it's not like I did it on purpose. And honestly, this whole trial has been ridiculous. You're treating me like I'm some kind of criminal when—" "Please, Ms. Vanden, continue." Something in his voice should have warned her, should have made her stop, but she doesn't hear it. "When I'm just someone who made a mistake. And now you're putting me through this whole circus, wasting everyone's time when we could have just settled this like civilized people. You're acting like I'm some kind of monster when all I did was—" "What did you do, Ms. Vanden?" "I had an accident. That's it. And if everyone could just stop being so dramatic and let me explain—" She pauses. For 1 second, she seems to realize she should stop talking. Her lawyer is frantically shaking his head. Her father half stands in the gallery. Even her assistant looks terrified. But Alyssa has never been told no in her life. She's never faced consequences. She's never learned when to stop, and so she doesn't. Alyssa leans forward, points her finger at Judge Mills Lane, and says the 3 words that will destroy her life. "You know what? Why don't you just shut up for a minute and let me explain?" Time stops. The courtroom goes from whispers to absolute dead silence. The kind of silence where you can hear your own heartbeat. Alyssa's lawyer drops his pen. It hits the floor. In the silence, it sounds like a gunshot. Sarah's hand covers her mouth. Marcus tugs on her sleeve, confused. Richard Vanden stands up, frozen halfway. The bailiffs look at each other. Every reporter in the gallery stops writing, and Judge Mills Lane doesn't move, doesn't blink, just stares at Alyssa for 10 full seconds. 10 seconds of silence in a courtroom feels like an eternity. Alyssa's smirk starts to fade. Slowly she realizes something is very wrong. She looks at her lawyer. He won't meet her eyes. She looks at her father. He's pale. She looks back at the judge. And Judge Mills Lane slowly stands up. When Judge Mills Lane speaks, his voice is completely calm. Not angry, not loud. Calm. And somehow that's more terrifying than any yelling could be. Bailiff, please approach the bench. The bailiff walks over. Judge Mills Lane says something quietly. The bailiff nods, walks toward Alyssa. She looks confused now. The smirk is completely gone. Ms. Vanden, you have just shown contempt for this court. In my 37 years on this bench, I have rarely seen such blatant disrespect for the legal process. Alyssa tries to speak. Your Honor, I didn't mean... You will be silent now. She closes her mouth. Her hands start shaking. Richard Vanden stands up completely. Your Honor, please, my daughter didn't understand... Mr. Vanden, sit down immediately or you will be held in contempt as well. Richard sits, helpless. For the first time in his life, his money can't fix this. His connections can't make a call. His power means nothing. Judge Mills Lane continues, each word measured, precise, final. Ms. Vanden, you have shown this court that you have no remorse, no understanding of the harm you cause, no respect for the victim, no respect for the law, and now no respect for this court. He picks up his gavel. Therefore, I am imposing the following sentence. For the crime of reckless endangerment, 18 months in county jail. Alyssa's face goes white. What? No, you can't. For leaving the scene of an accident, an additional 6 months to be served consecutively. Wait, Your Honor. For contempt of court, 90 days also consecutive. Her lawyer stands. Your Honor, if we could request... Your request is denied. I am not finished. The entire courtroom is frozen. Sarah is crying. Not sad crying. Relief crying. Marcus is hugging her. Upon your release, you will serve 3 years of supervised probation. During this time, you will complete 500 hours of community service. Not at a charity gala, not at a fundraising event, but at the pedestrian safety program where Marcus Chen is currently receiving physical therapy for the injuries you caused. Alyssa starts crying now. Real tears. Panicked tears. Please, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You will report there every week. You will see the real consequences of reckless driving. You will understand what you did to this family. He pauses, looks directly at her. What he says next is the most devastating part. And finally, Ms. Vanden, your driver's license is hereby permanently revoked. Not suspended, not restricted. Revoked. Forever. Alyssa's mouth falls open. No, you can't do that. I need my license. How am I supposed to... You have demonstrated that you are fundamentally incapable of operating a vehicle safely. You view driving as a right that belongs to you because of your wealth and status. But it is not a right, it is a privilege, and you have permanently, irrevocably lost that privilege. That's when Alyssa completely loses control. You can't do this to me! She's screaming now, really screaming, standing up. Her chair falls backward. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? The bailiffs move toward her. She backs away. My father will sue you. He'll have your job. You're nobody. You're nothing. Judge Mills Lane's voice cuts through her screaming. Still calm, still measured. Ms. Vanden, your father will do nothing, because I just did this to you, and it is final. No! You can't. I'll appeal. The bailiffs reach her. Each takes an arm. She tries to pull away, starts kicking, thrashing. Get off me! Don't touch me! You can't do this! Richard Vanden is standing, helpless, watching his daughter being restrained. He built an empire. He can buy anything, and right now he can do absolutely nothing. Alyssa is still screaming, still fighting. Her designer dress tears at the shoulder. Her hair's everywhere. Makeup running. She tries to spit at the bailiffs. One of them says quietly, "Don't make this worse." But she does make it worse. She's screaming obscenities, threatening lawsuits, threatening the judge's career, threatening everyone. As they drag her toward the door, she manages to turn back one last time. This isn't over! You'll pay for this! All of you! The doors close behind her. Her screaming echoes down the hallway, getting fainter. And then gone. The courtroom is completely silent. No one moves. No one speaks. It's like everyone needs a moment to process what just happened. Judge Mills Lane looks at Richard Vanden. His voice is gentler now, almost sympathetic. Mr. Vanden, your daughter needed consequences years ago. Perhaps this will save her life. Richard doesn't respond, just sits back down, stares at nothing. Then Judge Mills Lane turns to Sarah. Miss Chen, I am deeply sorry for what you and your son have endured. I hope this brings you some measure of justice. Sarah is crying. Marcus is asking her if the bad lady is going away now. Sarah nods, can't speak, just nods and holds her son. Judge Mills Lane stands. This court is adjourned. He walks out. The gavel's echo is the only sound, and then the courtroom erupts, reporters running for the doors, people talking over each other, camera flashes, questions shouted. But in the front row, Sarah and Marcus sit quietly. For the first time in months, Sarah's face shows something other than anger and fear. Relief. Pure relief. Outside the courtroom, they can still hear Alyssa screaming from wherever they've taken her, demanding her phone, demanding her lawyer, demanding her father, demanding the impossible, to undo the last 10 minutes. The video of Alyssa's removal hits social media within minutes, not hours. Minutes. Courtroom cameras caught everything. Her screaming, "Shut up," at the judge, the sentencing, her complete meltdown, bailiffs dragging her out, all of it. 3 hours later, 20 million views. 6 hours, trending in 47 countries. 24 hours, news networks worldwide are calling it the most satisfying verdict of the year. The footage spreads everywhere. The moment she told the judge to shut up. His calm response. Her face changing from arrogant to terrified. The physical removal. It's everything the internet has been waiting for. A spoiled rich kid finally, actually facing consequences. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered during the trial. When word of the verdict spreads, they erupt, cheering, chanting Judge Mills Lane's name, holding signs, justice served. Money can't buy everything. Thank you, Judge Lane. This isn't just about Alyssa anymore. It's become a symbol, proof that sometimes, rarely, the system actually works, that wealth and power don't always win, but the fallout doesn't stop at Alyssa. Richard Vanden's company takes a massive hit. Stock price drops 18% in 2 days. Shareholders are furious. Emergency board meeting called. They demand answers. How many times has the family used corporate resources to cover up Alyssa's behavior? What else has been hidden? Were company funds used for the cover-up attempts? Internal investigation launched. 3 executives quietly resign. The company's reputation is damaged, not just by what Alyssa did, but by the attempted cover-up. By the years of making problems disappear. 3 weeks later, Richard Vanden announces he's stepping down as CEO. The official statement says, to focus on family matters. The real translation, his daughter's behavior became a liability the board couldn't ignore. The man who built a $12 billion empire, brought down by his daughter telling a judge to shut up. But here's what's really interesting. This case starts something bigger. 3 other families come forward. Similar stories, wealthy defendants, hit and runs, assaults, paid settlements, NDAs, problems that disappeared. District attorneys in 4 different states start reopening cases, looking at sealed settlements, asking whether justice was served or just bought off. One verdict, one judge who refused to be intimidated, and suddenly people start believing the system might actually work. That maybe, just maybe, consequences can reach anyone. Legal reform advocates use the case as an example. Law schools add it to their ethics curriculum. The Vanden case becomes shorthand for what happens when entitlement meets accountability. And Judge Mills Lane? He becomes a folk hero overnight. Memes everywhere. T-shirts with his face and the caption, "Just shut up." Social media accounts dedicated to his greatest moments. People calling for him to run for higher office. But he doesn't want any of it. He's just doing his job, the way he's done it for 37 years, treating everyone equally, letting actions determine consequences. Nothing more, nothing less. County jail. First night, Alyssa Vanden, prisoner number 847362. No designer dress, no sunglasses, no assistants. Standard issue orange jumpsuit. Plastic slides, steel bunk. According to the guards who processed her, she spent the first 6 hours demanding things. Demanding to speak to her father, her lawyers, the warden, the governor, anyone who could fix this. Anyone who could make it stop. They told her the same thing over and over. You'll get your phone call. Wait your turn. She'd never waited her turn for anything in her life. Eventually she stops demanding, stops yelling, just sits on the bunk and cries. Not pretty crying, ugly crying. The kind where you can't breathe, where you realize for the first time that money can't save you, that daddy can't make it go away, that this is real. Week 1, she refuses to eat, refuses to participate in any activities, gets written up for breaking rules, talking back to guards. The same entitlement that destroyed her in court doesn't work here either. Week 2, she starts eating, barely. Still won't talk to other inmates, sits alone at meals, alone in the yard, isolated by choice and by reputation. Everyone knows who she is, what she did. Most of them hate her. Week 4, something changes. Her cellmate is a woman named Diana, 38 years old, in for vehicular manslaughter, DUI. Killed her best friend in a crash. Been there 2 years, another year to go. Diana doesn't try to befriend Alyssa, doesn't offer sympathy, just exists in the same space. But one night, after Alyssa has another breakdown crying into her pillow, Diana says something. You can spend your whole sentence angry about being here, or you can spend it becoming someone different, your choice. But the time's going to pass either way. Alyssa doesn't respond, but she stops crying. A week later, Alyssa asks Diana a question. Does it get easier? Diana looks at her. Being in here? Yeah. Living with what you did? No. That part stays hard forever. How do you deal with it? I don't deal with it. I carry it every day. I killed my best friend. That doesn't go away because I'm sorry. It doesn't go away because I served my time. It's mine now, forever. According to the prison psychologist who met with Alyssa later, that conversation was the breaking point. The first time Alyssa actually understood that what she did to Marcus and Sarah wasn't just a problem to fix. It was something she'd carry forever. In their next session, Alyssa said something she'd never said before. Not to the judge, not to the jury, not to anyone. I hurt that kid. I really hurt him. The psychologist noted. First genuine acknowledgement of harm caused. Possible beginning of actual remorse. It wasn't much, but it was something. A crack in the armor. The first step toward becoming someone different than who she was in that courtroom. Fast forward 6 months. Alyssa has served her jail time. Now comes the part Judge Mills Lane designed specifically for her. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Pedestrian safety program. The same facility where Marcus Chen does his physical therapy. This is the genius of the sentence. He didn't just punish her. He forced her to see the real-world consequences of reckless driving, to be around injured children, to watch them struggle with things that used to be easy. First day. Alyssa arrives early, nervous, terrified really. She checks in with the coordinator, gets her assignment, help organize safety equipment, set up traffic cones, inflate practice dummies, basic tasks. And then she sees him, Marcus, 10 years old when she hit him, now 11, still smaller than other kids his age, walking with a slight limp that will probably never completely go away. He's with his physical therapist working on balance exercises. He sees her too, recognizes her immediately. His face goes blank, not angry, not scared, just blank. He looks away, keeps working. Alyssa stands there holding traffic cones, frozen. The coordinator has to call her name twice. Week 3, they're in the same room during a safety presentation. A police officer is teaching kids about crosswalk safety. Marcus is sitting in the front row. Alyssa is in the back, required to attend. The officer talks about looking both ways, waiting for the signal, how cars should always stop for pedestrians. Marcus watches Alyssa. She feels his eyes on her, looks at the floor. Week 8, Marcus's physical therapist asks Alyssa to help organize equipment. Marcus is there finishing his session. They're in the same small room. The therapist leaves them alone for a moment. Silence. Awkward, heavy silence. Alyssa organizes resistance bands. Marcus sits on the exercise table. Finally, Alyssa speaks. Her voice quiet. Nothing like the entitled scream in the courtroom. Does your ankle still hurt? Marcus looks at her. Long pause. Then, every day. He doesn't say it mean, just factual. It hurts every day. That's the truth. Alyssa nods, doesn't respond. What could she say? Sorry doesn't fix a broken ankle. Sorry doesn't give him back soccer. Sorry doesn't erase what she did. She just nods and keeps organizing equipment. According to the therapist, they had 3 more brief interactions over the next months. Never long conversations, just small acknowledgments. Alyssa asking if Marcus needed help carrying something. Marcus saying no thanks. Polite, distant, but not cruel. The therapist noted, victim shows remarkable maturity. Offender shows signs of genuine shame. Not performative, real. Today, 3 years after that courtroom confrontation, Marcus is 14, his ankle healed, but not perfectly. He walks with a slight limp. He doesn't play competitive soccer anymore. That dream died with the injury, but he found other things. Photography. He's good at it, really good. Won a regional competition last year, planning to study it in college. His mother Sarah says he doesn't talk about the accident much anymore, but sometimes he'll see a Rolls Royce on the street and get quiet. The trauma doesn't go away. It just gets managed, lived with, carried. Sarah still works 2 jobs, but one of them now is with a victims' rights organization. She speaks at schools, at community centers, tells her story, advocates for real consequences for hit and runs. She's helped 3 other families navigate the legal system when wealthy defendants tried to buy their way out. The accident changed her life, but she didn't let it destroy her. Richard Vanden stepped down as CEO, stepped back from public life. According to people who know him, he's a different person now, quieter, more aware. The empire he built continues without him. His daughter's actions cost him his legacy. And Alyssa? She finished her probation 8 months ago. She works at a traffic safety nonprofit now, education and awareness, travels to schools, tells her story, shows students what happens when you drive recklessly, when you think rules don't apply to you. According to her probation officer's final report, significant behavioral change observed, regular employment, no violations, appears to have genuine understanding of harm caused. Is it real? Is the change genuine? Or is she just playing a role, doing what she needs to do to rebuild her life? Her therapist says she carries shame now, real shame. Whether that makes her a better person or just a more careful person, I can't say. But she's not the same woman who told a judge to shut up. She can't drive, will never drive again. That part of the sentence is permanent. In a city built for cars, where everyone drives, she takes buses, rides with coworkers, walks. The same woman who screamed about a Rolls Royce now waits at bus stops. Some people see it as justice, others see it as too harsh. But Judge Mills Lane didn't care about public opinion. He cared about one thing. Could she hurt someone else on the road? His answer was no, forever no. And because of that, Marcus Chen is safer. Every kid crossing a street is safer. That's what mattered to Judge Mills Lane. Whether Alyssa became a better person was up to her. Whether she couldn't hurt anyone else, that was up to him. He chose the second one, because that was his job. So what do we learn from this? That consequences still exist, even for the wealthy, even for the powerful. Not always, not consistently, but sometimes. And those moments matter. That one person in the right position with the right integrity can make a difference. Judge Mills Lane didn't have billions, didn't have connections, just had a gavel and 38 years of treating everyone equally. That actions define you more than your last name, more than your bank account, more than your father's empire. Alyssa learned that the hardest way possible. And that sometimes the system works. Not perfectly, not often enough, but sometimes when the right people are in the right places, justice actually happens. This story went viral not because it's common, but because it's rare. Because people are so used to seeing wealth win, power triumph, connections matter more than actions. And for once, just once, none of that mattered. A judge did his job, a victim got justice, and someone who thought they were untouchable learned they were wrong. That's why millions of people watched that video, not for entertainment, for hope. Hope that maybe the system isn't completely broken, that maybe accountability can still reach anyone. Judge Mills Lane gave us that hope, not through speeches or campaigns, through one sentence, applied equally, fairly. Finally, if this story gave you even a small sense that justice can still work, hit that subscribe button. Because we cover these stories every week, the rare moments when the system actually functions, when consequences reach the people who thought they were above them. And if someone in your life needs to hear this story, share it. Sometimes people need to be reminded that actions have consequences, that rules apply to everyone, that shut up to a judge is never, ever a good idea. Over 500,000 of you are already part of this community. People who believe the system can work, who want to see it work more often, who celebrate the rare moments when it actually does. Don't miss the next story, because they're out there. Judges who won't be bought, prosecutors who won't be intimidated, victims who won't be silenced, and defendants who learn, who up to finally that money can't buy everything.